everybody. Well, what I want to do is that I'm going to do like the organization of the nervous system, how basically how the nervous system is organized. What I want to do first is contrast between the peripheral nervous system and central nervous system, how the signal goes between the two. Then I want to go over neuroglia, which are the supporting cells of the neurons, and identify what's located in central versus peripheral. And then we'll go over a multipolar neuron. So let's start with this diagram here. Here's the sensory receptors. Here's the visceral sensory receptors, which come from your digestive organs, urinary, reproductive. This is the special senses. That's like from the eye and ear. And then this one is going to be the somatic sensory receptors, which is going to come from the skeletal muscles or the joints. Okay? So those sensory receptors, they're going to sense, okay, via receptors, and they're going to send that sensory information up the afferent division with an A. You can see the brain and spinal cord in gray. So this is the central nervous system is this color, which is the brain and spinal cord, and then you have the peripheral nervous system, which is all this gold-looking color outside of it. Okay, so we have the special senses going, the afferent division to the central nervous system. Central nervous system is going to process that information, and then from there, the central nervous system will go back to the peripheral nervous system via the efferent division. And the efferent division, or the motor division, is divided into two systems. You have the autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system will go to your skeletal muscles. The autonomic nervous system will be divided into two divisions, the parasympathetic division and sympathetic division. And basically what they're going to do is going to regulate muscles that you can't control, like the smooth muscle or the cardiac muscle, and it's also going to stimulate glands. All right, so now let's look next at the neuroglia. Neuroglia are going to be supporting cells of the nerves. Here, this is the neuroglia for the peripheral nervous system, and this is the neuroglia for the central nervous system. Okay? For the peripheral nervous system, here you have the Schwann cells. The Schwann cells surround the nerves in the peripheral nervous system. And remember, these Schwann cells, they speed up the electricity. They make it go quicker. Okay? Here you have the satellite cells. The satellite cell will monitor the oxygen, carbon dioxide, and the nutrients that are going to the neurons. So you'll basically find these two in the peripheral nervous system, which are all those nerves that are going away from the central nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord. These are the neuroglia for the central nervous system. Central nervous system has a few more than the peripheral nervous system. Ependymal cells produce the CSF, which you'll find in the central canal and the ventricles. This is the astrocytes. Okay, the astrocytes maintain the blood-brain barrier. So when the CSF goes from the subarachnoid space of the central nervous system out to the bloodstream, you have the astrocytes maintaining that blood-brain barrier, making sure that nothing from the blood goes into the central nervous system, because there'll be big problems. Okay, then this, I believe this is oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes, they myelinate the nerves within the central nervous system, similar to what the Schwann cells do to the nerves in the peripheral nervous system, which is speed up the electricity. And then finally here we have the microglia, which engulf pathogens via phagocytosis. So these guys like monitor everything. The microglia actually migrated from the bloodstream, and is probably the only one that had the little permission or the VIP to come into the central nervous system to help us out. That's the neuroglia, the supporting cells of the nerves in the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system, respectively. Okay, and then the last diagram I want to show you is just how a multipolar neuron is, what it's composed of. Okay, so this is a multipolar neuron. Okay, I kind of showed you this multipolar neuron in the book, from the book. Here you have a cell body, multipolar because it's many dendrites surrounding the cell body of this neuron. That's why it's called multipolar. It's not just a north and south pole, it's all the poles, every other pole that you can imagine. Okay, so we have the dendrites, which receive the electrical stimulus. We have the cell body, which contains Nissl bodies. See if I can put it a little bit closer. Put it on this side. Okay. Then here we have the axon hillock. Here's the axon. And then at the ends here, you have axon terminals. Okay, and axon terminals are going to contain the neurotransmitters. One example is ACH, and that neurotransmitter will go to the postsynaptic cell and stimulate that cell, whether it's a gland, nerve, or a muscle. Now, along this axon, you're going to have these things called Schwann cells. Remember, Schwann cells are neuroglia for nerve cells in the peripheral nervous system. So these are Schwann cells. They look like, this is like a string of sausages. The string is the axon, and the sausages are the Schwann cells. And the Schwann cells will allow the electricity to go from node to node. In between is called the nodes of Ranvier, and allow the electricity to go much quicker along that nerve. Okay, and up here you can see a neuron. Here you can see barely dendrites, these little purple lines right there, cell bodies, nucleus, and here's the axon. And here in this diagram, you have a bunch of astrocytes which maintain the blood-brain barrier, preferably at the site of the arachnoid granulation. Okay, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you an idea of how the electricity goes from the peripheral nervous system to our spinal cord and brain. Those two will process the information. You get bit by a mosquito here. Okay, I feel something. Brain and spinal cord processes that feeling. Okay, I need to smack that mosquito, so it sends a signal via the efferent division to the peripheral nervous system, and then you smack that mosquito if you got it. Okay, sensory to the central nervous system, motor, which is the effector. Afferent to central nervous system, efferent away from the central nervous system. A is arrive, E is exit. And then we went over the different types of neuroglia in both the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And remember, there's 4 for the central nervous system versus 2 in the peripheral nervous system. And then finally, we went over a multipolar neuron, the components of the multipolar neuron, and a couple histological tissues showing a multipolar neuron within it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Just wanted to give you an idea of the nervous system there, and I'll just go over some individual models later on and elaborate a little bit more. Okay, all right, so well, that's it. I will check you out in the next video. Take care. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you at the lab. Bye.